My beloved child, listen to me carefully. This is not a whisper carried by the wind. This is not one more gentle nudge you can set aside for another day. This is my last final call to your heart in this season. Do not ignore it. You have felt me before. You have sensed my presence in the quiet moments, in the pauses between your thoughts, in the stillness of the night when everything else was silent. But this moment is different. There is a weight to my words now. There is an urgency wrapped in love. I am not rushing you in fear. I am calling you in purpose. And you must understand why this matters now. You have delayed long enough. You have reasoned with yourself. You have told yourself there will be another chance, another sign, another confirmation. But my beloved child, how many times must I circle the same mountain with you? How many times must I place the same truth before your eyes before you recognize that it is me? This is not about punishment. This is not about anger. This is about alignment. I see what you cannot see. I know what stands ahead. I know the doors that are waiting, and I also know the ones that will close if you continue to hesitate. Time is not your enemy, but delay can quietly become your chain. And I love you too much to let you remain bound by indecision. Right now, as you hear these words, something inside you is stirring. You feel it in your chest. You feel the familiar conviction rising again. A gentle but firm pull you have tried to silence. That calling you have postponed because it felt inconvenient, uncomfortable, or uncertain. My child, that stirring is not random. It is me. Do not scroll past this moment in your spirit. Do not treat this as background noise. Lean in. Listen closely. There is clarity coming that will steady your steps. There is direction that will quiet your confusion. But you must stay with me through this message. You must not turn away when the truth begins to shine light on what you have avoided. I am speaking now because the window for hesitation is closing. Not because I am withdrawing my love, but because I am inviting you into something greater than your fear. This is a crossroads. One path keeps you comfortable but stagnant. The other stretches you but leads you into life. You have asked me for change. You have prayed for breakthrough. You have cried out for movement. And now that I am calling you forward, you stand still. My beloved child, this is your moment to answer. Stay with me. Do not harden your heart. Before this message ends, you will understand why this call cannot be ignored. And when you understand, you will know exactly what you must do. My beloved child, I am speaking to you, not to the crowd, not to the masses, not to those who will listen casually and move on unchanged. I am speaking to you, the one who feels exposed by these words, the one whose heart tightened in part one because you knew I was not speaking in general terms. This is not random. You did not stumble into this message by accident. I have been drawing you here, gently, but intentionally. You may wonder why I would call this a final call. It is not because I am abandoning you. It is not because my love is running out. My love does not diminish. My patience is not fragile. But there comes a moment in every season when I shift from whispering to summoning. And you are standing in that moment now. You have felt chosen before, but you also doubted it. You question whether the conviction you carry is truly from me. You told yourself that if it were truly important, it would feel louder, clearer, easier. Yet here you are again, hearing the same theme in different ways, through different days, through different circumstances. That repetition is not coincidence. It is confirmation. I know your heart. I know your fears. I know the reasons you hesitate. You are not resisting me because you are rebellious. You are resisting because you are unsure. You are afraid of stepping forward and discovering you misunderstood. You are afraid of change. You are afraid of letting go of what feels safe. My beloved child, I see all of that, and I do not condemn you for it. This is why I speak to you as a father, not as a dictator. I am not forcing your hand. I am inviting your trust. I am narrowing this message from the many to the one because I want you to understand something deeply. You matter to me individually. Your obedience matters. Your delay matters. Your decision matters. Not because you are under pressure, but because your life has weight and purpose. There are others who could listen to these words and feel nothing. But you feel something. That is why this is for you. You have been asking for direction. You have been praying for clarity. You have been waiting for a sign strong enough to silence your inner debate. My beloved child, this is that sign. Not a dramatic spectacle, not a sudden shake of the ground, but a steady, unmistakable call that refuses to leave you alone. I am creating emotional safety for you right now. You are not about to be shamed. You are not about to be scolded. You are being drawn closer. Even as I call you forward, my arms remain open. I am not pushing you away, I am pulling you into alignment. If these words are stirring something in your spirit, do not brush it aside. Acknowledge it. Let your heart respond. And if this message is already bringing clarity and peace to your soul, bless it with a simple act of agreement. To board it. Share it with 3 souls who need this same awakening. Subscribe and remain connected so that these moments of truth continue to reach you and others. When you engage, you are not promoting a channel. You are helping this call echo into hearts that are waiting for courage. But beyond any outward action, I am asking for something deeper from you. Look at the pattern of your life. Look at how often this same decision returns. Look at how frequently you almost move, almost speak, almost step out, then retreat. That pattern is not accidental. It is the very place I am touching now. You are not here because you are failing. You are here because you are ready. I would not make my call clearer if you were not strong enough to answer it. I would not increase the urgency if you were not mature enough to respond. This narrowing of focus, this deep personal tone, is proof of something powerful. You are being entrusted with a moment that can change your direction. Do not dismiss that honor. My beloved child, I am not calling you because you are weak. I am calling you because you are capable. And as this message continues, you will begin to understand why this moment is not about pressure, but about purpose. My beloved child, I see the tiredness you do not speak about. You carry yourself well in front of others. You smile when needed. You fulfill your responsibilities. You keep moving. But beneath the surface, there is a quiet exhaustion that has been growing. Not just physical tiredness, but the weariness of resisting what you know I have been placing on your heart. You are tired of thinking about it, tired of revisiting the same decision, tired of feeling the nudge and then pushing it aside. Each time you delay, it takes more energy than you realize, and the weight of that internal tug-of-war has been draining you slowly. You have asked yourself why you feel restless even when nothing is technically wrong. Why peace feels slightly out of reach. Why distractions have become louder. Why silence feels uncomfortable. My beloved child, that unrest is not punishment. It is the signal of misalignment. It is the gentle friction that comes when you are close to obedience, but not yet moving. I see the confusion that has visited you in quiet moments. You have wondered if the voice within is truly mine or simply your own thoughts. You have questioned your discernment. You have analyzed every impression, every feeling, every sign. And the more you analyze, the more tangled it seems. You have cried tears that no one saw. Not dramatic breakdowns, but quiet ones. Moments in your room. Moments in your car. Moments when you whispered, "What do you want from me?" And even after asking, you hesitated to fully listen because you feared the answer might require change. You are not overlooked. I have watched every one of those moments. There is also frustration in you. Frustration that life feels paused. Frustration that others seem to move forward while you feel stuck at the same internal crossroads. You compare timelines. You compare progress. You compare clarity. And sometimes you wonder why their path seems simple while yours feels layered and slow. My beloved child, I see that comparison, and I see how it quietly steals your joy. You have felt unseen at times, even by me. When the conviction first came, it felt strong, clear, almost urgent. But when you did not act immediately, you expected me to repeat it loudly. Instead, I allowed space. And in that space, you wondered if I had withdrawn. You wondered if I had moved on. You wondered if the opportunity had passed. That uncertainty has sat heavily on you. You have also felt the tension between comfort and calling. Comfort tells you to stay where things are predictable. Calling invites you into unknown territory. Comfort whispers that you can wait a little longer. Calling reminds you that delay carries a cost. And you have been standing between those two voices, trying to silence one without fully surrendering to the other. Attention is not weakness. It is the sign that something meaningful is at stake. I know how carefully you guard your heart. I know you do not want to make reckless moves. You value stability. You value wisdom. And yet, beneath all your reasoning, there is a steady awareness that you already know the next step. It is that awareness that has been following you. You try to distract yourself from it. You busy your schedule. You focus on other goals. But in the quiet, it returns. The same thought. The same direction. The same invitation. And every time it returns, it feels a little heavier, a little clearer. My beloved child, I am not angry with your hesitation. I understand your fear of stepping wrong. I understand your desire for certainty. But I want you to see something important. Your exhaustion is not from confusion. It is from resistance. You are not worn out because I am unclear. You are worn out because you are holding back. And the moment you stop fighting what you already sense, that heaviness will begin to lift. The restlessness will quiet. The anxiety that creeps in during stillness will soften. Because alignment brings peace in ways comfort never can. I am not exposing your emotional landscape to shame you. I am revealing it so you can understand yourself. So you can see the pattern. So you can recognize that what you have been calling confusion is actually conviction waiting for courage. Stay with me. We are moving closer to clarity. My beloved child, as you choose alignment over resistance, do not keep this awakening to yourself. The same clarity I am restoring in you, I desire to ignite in countless others who are still wrestling in silence. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal gift, the PayPal link rests in the description. You are not funding a channel. You are watering fields ready for harvest. Did I not say, cast your bread upon the waters, and it will return to you? I speak it again over you now. If you feel the stirring to help, that stirring is my invitation. What you release becomes oil for another's lamp. fire for another's altar, manna for another's wilderness. This is not a casual offering. It is a seed in fertile soil, timed for impact. As you give, I will guard your provision and multiply your obedience. Do not ignore this nudge. Act now, sow, support, and let my word run swiftly through the earth. My beloved child, I know the questions that have been circling in your mind. You have not spoken all of them aloud, but I have heard every one. In the quiet of your thoughts you have asked, is this really you? You have wondered if you are imagining the call, if you are creating pressure where none exists. You have asked, why now? Why this? Why me? You have questioned the timing. If this step is truly from me, why did it not come earlier when you felt stronger? Why did clarity not arrive before circumstances became complicated? You have tried to piece together a timeline that makes sense to you. And when it did not align with your expectations, you assume something must be wrong. But my beloved child, timing often feels confusing when you can only see one page of the story. You have also looked at others. You have watched their progress, their breakthroughs, their visible movement. You have compared their boldness to your hesitation. You have wondered why they seem certain while you feel caught in inner debate. Sometimes you have even asked, why is their path smoother than mine? That comparison has planted subtle doubt. It has made you question whether you are behind, whether you missed something, whether you delayed too long. Then there is the deeper question you rarely admit. If this is truly you calling me, why does it feel so uncomfortable? You expected divine direction to feel peaceful from the beginning. You thought obedience would arrive wrapped in confidence and excitement. But instead, it has come with stretching, with uncertainty, with the need to release control. And so you have wrestled with the tension between faith and frustration. Part of you wants to trust completely. Another part of you wants guarantees. You have even asked me, why don't you just make it obvious? Why not close every other option so clearly that I have no choice? In your heart, you have wished for a sign so undeniable that you would not have to risk anything to follow it. But my beloved child, if I remove every alternative, you would not be choosing me in trust. You would simply be reacting to circumstance. You have also wrestled with perceived injustice. You have thought, I have tried to be faithful. I have tried to listen. Why does this feel like such a battle? You expected that your desire to please me would automatically make the path smooth. When it did not, discouragement crept in. You have asked whether your hesitation has already disqualified you, whether your delay has caused you to miss what was meant for you, whether this is truly a final call because the opportunity is almost gone. Hear me clearly. You are not disqualified. But the window of indecision cannot remain open forever. Your inner dialogue has been intense. One moment you resolve to move forward. The next, you talk yourself out of it. You rehearse possible outcomes. You imagine failure. You anticipate regret. And in doing so, you keep yourself suspended between action and avoidance. That suspension is what has been stealing your peace. You have wanted reassurance without surrender, clarity without commitment, direction without discomfort. And yet deep inside, you already know that growth never arrives that way. My beloved child, your questions are not signs of weak faith. They are signs that you understand the weight of what is before you. You would not wrestle this deeply if it did not matter. You would not question so carefully if your heart were not sincere. But now I am leading you beyond the questions. The confusion about timing, the comparison with others, the fear of discomfort, the worry about missing your moment, these have all built tension inside you. and the tension has been preparing you for understanding. You are not stuck because I am unclear. You are paused because I am allowing you to choose. And as we move forward, I will begin to unfold what you have not yet seen. The reason the call has returned. The reason it has grown stronger. The reason this moment carries more weight than the ones before. Stay with me, my beloved child. Your questions are about to meet their answer. My beloved child, breathe for a moment. Let your thoughts slow down. You have carried questions, tension, and quiet wrestling for so long that you have almost grown used to the noise inside your mind. But now I am asking you to settle. Not because your questions were wrong, but because you are about to see differently. Clarity is not far from you. It had been forming beneath the surface while you were searching for it in obvious places. You expected revelation to arrive like a sudden flash of light. Instead, it has been building like the slow rise of dawn. Subtle. Steady. Turn. You have feared that this final call meant something harsh. That it carried disappointment. That it signaled loss. But my beloved child, revelation is not meant to crush you. It is meant to free you. What I am uncovering now is not a sentence against you. It is an invitation into alignment. Listen carefully. There is more happening than you can see. You have been evaluating this moment based only on your emotions and your limited perspective. You have been asking, why does this feel heavy? Without realizing that weight does not always mean danger. Sometimes weight means significance. Sometimes it means responsibility. Sometimes it means you are standing at the edge of something meaningful. I am not revealing everything at once because you are not meant to carry everything at once. Understanding unfolds in layers. If I showed you the entire picture too early, you might react from fear instead of faith. You might try to control what is meant to be trusted. So I have allowed this process to move step by step. You thought the repetition of this call was frustration. In truth, it was mercy. Each time it returned, it was not to pressure you, but to prepare you. Each gentle reminder was strengthening your awareness. Each inner stirring was building sensitivity in your spirit. You are not behind. You are being refined in your ability to recognize my voice. And now you are ready for deeper perspective. The season you are in is not random. The crossroads you feel is not accidental. This is not simply about one decision or one step. It is about alignment between who you are becoming and where you are going. You cannot step into what awaits you while clinging to hesitation. Not because I am withholding something, but because misalignment creates instability. You have been asking for peace. True peace does not come from avoiding the next step. It comes from embracing it. Slow down your fear. Quiet the voice that says you will fail. Release the thought that you must understand every detail before you move. Revelation is coming, but it will not arrive to satisfy your curiosity. It will come to anchor your trust. My beloved child, I see your heart. I know you do not want to make careless decisions. I know you value wisdom. That is why I have not rushed you recklessly. But I also know when hesitation begins to turn into avoidance. And this moment is about gently separating the two. The clarity you seek is not a new instruction. It is a deeper understanding of the instruction you already sensed. What you call confusion has been a shield against commitment. What you call waiting has often been a delay rooted in fear of change. But do not feel ashamed as I say this. Awareness is not accusation. It is freedom. You are about to see that this final call is not about losing something safe. It is about stepping into something aligned. It is about trusting that I have been guiding you even when you felt uncertain. It is about recognizing that your growth has prepared you for this very moment. Stay attentive. Do not rush ahead of my words. Let them settle. Let them reshape how you interpret your season. Because once you understand the true purpose of where you stand, hesitation will begin to lose its grip. The revelation is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to steady you. And as we move forward, I will show you what this season truly is, and why this call cannot remain unanswered. My beloved child, now I will speak plainly about this season you are in. This is not a season of punishment. It is not a season where I am disappointed in you. It is not a season where I have stepped back to see if you will fail. No, my beloved child, this is a season of alignment. A carefully measured crossroads designed to bring your heart, your will, and your direction into one steady line. For a long time, you have been living between two places. You have been living between knowing and doing, between sensing my instruction and actually stepping into it, between prediction and action. And that space in between hath been the source of your unrest. You thought the discomfort meant something was wrong. In truth, it meant something was ready. This season had been about refining your responsiveness. You already hear me. That is not the issue. You recognize my voice more clearly than you did years ago. You discern the difference between fear and conviction more accurately than before. But recognition without response creates tension inside you. The more clearly you hear, the more deeply you are responsible to move. The tension you have been carrying is not confusion. It is the weight of postponed obedience. Do not let that statement wound you. Let it free you. Each time the call returned to your spirit, it revealed something. It showed you where fear still whispered. It showed you where comfort still held influence. It exposed your desire for guarantees before commitment. None of this makes you weak. It simply reveals the areas where growth was unfolding. You are not being tested to prove your value. Your value has never been in question. You are being aligned so that when you step forward, you do so with steadiness. This entire season has boundaries. It was never meant to stretch endlessly. There comes a point when preparation completes its work. There comes a point when waiting shifts from wisdom into avoidance. And my beloved child, you are standing at that point now. The reason this call feels stronger is not because I am angry. It is because the lesson has reached maturity. You have learned what hesitation feels like. You have experienced the quiet heaviness of knowing what to do but delaying it. You have felt the restlessness that creeps in when alignment is close but not embraced. That experience was necessary. Without it, you would not fully understand the peace that obedience brings. You believed this season was about a single external decision, but it has been about your internal posture. It has been about whether your trust can move beyond comfort, whether your faith can function without full visibility, whether your yes can stand even when certainty is incomplete. I did not rush you because hurried obedience often hides fragile trust. I allowed time because I wanted your response to be rooted, not reactive. I wanted you to see your own patterns. I wanted you to feel the difference between fear-driven delay and wisdom-driven patience. Now you can see it. You are no longer confused about what I am asking. You may still feel stretched, but you are not unclear. The crossroads before you is simple, even if it feels weighty. One path keeps you in familiar territory, managing the internal tension and calling it caution. The other path requires movement, humility, and surrender, but it leads you into alignment. This season has been about closing the gap between hearing and doing. It has been about shaping you into someone who responds, not someone who repeatedly postpones. It has been about strengthening your trust so that obedience no longer feels like a threat to your stability, but the foundation of it. I have not changed my mind about your future. I have not withdrawn what I have prepared. But alignment is required for stability. You cannot carry what awaits you while still clinging to hesitation. My beloved child, this is why the call feels final. Not because love is ending, not because grace is fading, but because preparation is complete. The refining has done its work. The awareness has been sharpened. The lesson has been learned. Now it is time for alignment to become action. And as we continue, I will show you what this season was never meant to be, so that fear loses its hold and trust becomes your steady ground. My beloved child, let me gently remove the lies that have tried to define this season for you. This was never punishment. You have carried that suspicion quietly. When things slowed down, when answers did not come quickly, when opportunities faded, a small voice inside you wondered if I was correcting you harshly. You asked yourself if you had disappointed me. You questioned whether your hesitation caused me to pull back in frustration. But listen to me with a settled heart. I do not deal with you through punishment disguised as silence. I do not teach you through fear. I do not withdraw my affection to force your obedience. That is not my nature with you. My love hath been constant from the beginning of this season until now. It has not flickered. It has not cooled. It has not been placed on hold while you figured things out. This was not rejection either. When certain doors closed, you interpreted them as signs that you were not chosen. When conversations shifted or relationships ended, you wondered if you had been overlooked or replaced. When plans you once felt excited about slowly dissolved, you assumed you had missed your moment. But those closed doors were not rejection. They were redirection. There were paths that looked promising but would have drained you. There were connections that felt comfortable but would have reinforced hesitation. There were opportunities that matched your desire for security, but did not match your deeper alignment. If I had allowed you to walk through every open door, you would have been stretched in the wrong direction. You call it loss. I call it protection. You also feared that my quietness meant abandonment. When I did not repeat myself loudly, when I did not interrupt your hesitation with dramatic signs, you assumed I had stepped back. You thought perhaps I was waiting at a distance to see whether you would fail again. The thought unsettled you more than you admit. But silence is not absence. There are times when I speak clearly, and there are times when I allow what I have already said to echo. If I had constantly reaffirmed the same instruction, you might have responded out of pressure. You might have mistaken urgency for anxiety. Instead, I allowed space so that your trust could mature. You were never alone in the silence. You also carried a subtle fear that you were being tested in secret, that this season was a hidden exam, and you were unaware of the questions. You wondered if every delay was being measured against you, if every hesitation was being recorded as failure. My beloved child, I do not build traps for you. I do not design seasons to catch you in weakness. I design seasons to strengthen you in awareness. The tension you felt was not a trap. It was an invitation. It was the discomfort of growth pressing gently against the edges of your comfort. Another misinterpretation has quietly shaped your emotions. You believed you were behind. You watched others move quickly. You saw their confidence. You compared their visible steps to your internal wrestling. And you concluded that you were slow, that you were late, that you were almost missing something that should have already happened. But timing is not a race between my children. Your process hath been intentional. The pauses were measured. The delays were purposeful. You were not falling behind. You were being positioned carefully. What I am shaping in you requires steadiness, not speed. Remove the belief that you were barely holding on. Remove the thought that I was growing tired of repeating myself. Remove the narrative that you were losing ground with me. The closed doors were not rejection. The silence was not abandonment. The tension was upliftment. The delay was not disqualification. They were refinement. I was adjusting your perspective. I was strengthening your discernment. I was teaching you the difference between fear-driven caution and faith-driven patience. I was allowing you to see your own patterns so that when you finally step forward, you do so with awareness instead of confusion. My beloved child, once you release the false meanings you attach to this season, peace will begin to settle. You will stop fighting ghosts that were never there. You will stop interpreting my guidance through fear. And when fear no longer defines your understanding, obedience will no longer feel like stepping into danger. It will feel like stepping into clarity. This season was never against you. It has always been for you. My beloved child, let us speak honestly about the moments you remember but rarely revisit. There were times when you felt the instruction clearly. Not vague. Not confusing. Clear. A thought that would not leave you. A direction that returned again and again. In those moments, you almost acted. You almost said yes. You almost took the first step. But then you paused. You told yourself you needed more time. You told yourself you would move when you felt stronger, when circumstances aligned better, when you felt more certain. And so you delayed, not because you did not care, but because you were afraid of stepping too soon. I saw those moments. I saw the conversation you almost had but postponed. I saw the opportunity you nearly accepted but hesitated over. I saw the boundary you considered setting but softened at the last minute. I saw the change you sensed was necessary but delayed because it felt disruptive. You think these moments were small. You think they were insignificant pauses in a busy life. But they were sacred intersections. They were invitations to practice trust in quiet ways. There were nights when you lay awake, replaying what you knew you should do. You felt the gentle conviction settle in your chest. You told yourself, tomorrow. I will deal with it tomorrow. But when tomorrow came, distraction stepped in. Comfort whispered. Your routine took over. And the moment passed again. Not because you rejected me, but because you chose familiarity. You also remember the times when obedience would have required letting go. Letting go of an image. Letting go of approval. Letting go of a plan you carefully built. And instead of releasing it, you tightened your grip just a little more. You convinced yourself that holding on was wisdom. That staying where you were was safer. My beloved child, I am not recounting these moments to shame you. I am showing you how deeply aware you already are. You did not ignore me unknowingly. You sensed the nudge. You felt the restraint when you were about to compromise. You felt the check in your spirit when your words were about to drift into something unwise. And sometimes you listened. Sometimes you adjusted. Sometimes you resisted. There were also beautiful moments of quiet obedience that no one applauded. Times you chose integrity when it would have been easier to bend. Times you remained silent instead of defending yourself harshly. Times you stayed faithful in places that felt limiting. Those moments mattered too. This season has not been a story of constant resistance. It hath been a mixture of courage and caution, of progress and pause, of small victories and delayed steps. You stayed when leaving would have been easier. You forgave when bitterness felt justified. You resisted compromise in private, even when no one would have known. These were not dramatic acts, but they shaped you. They strengthened your character. They sharpened your awareness. And yet, there remains that one area, that one consistent instruction, that one step you keep circling. You know it. You do not need me to name it directly. As I speak, it rises in your mind again. That is not coincidence. That is clarity. You have proven that you can obey in small matters. You have shown restraint. You have demonstrated growth. But now the obedience before you is not small. It requires movement. It requires visible action. It requires a decision that cannot remain internal. The moments of hesitation were not wasted. They revealed where fear still whispers. They revealed where control still comforts you. They revealed how much you value stability. But my beloved child, the time has come to stop circling the same decision. The quaint convictions were rehearsal. The small obediences were preparation. The internal debates were training. You are not being asked to leap blindly. You are being asked to act on what has already been made clear. You have felt the nudge enough times. You have replayed the thought enough nights. You have postponed the step enough tomorrows. This is why I am calling again. Not to accuse you of the past, but to release you from repeating it. You are capable of responding. You are ready to move. And the next step, though it feels significant, is not beyond you. It is simply waiting for your yes. My beloved child, you have thought that your small delays were small matters. You have treated your postponed responses as minor details in a much larger story. But now I want you to understand something deeper. Nothing in your obedience journey has been insignificant. Every small hesitation carried weight. Not because I was tallying your missteps, but because each moment of delay shaped your inner world. Each time you chose to wait, when you already knew the direction, something subtle happened inside you. Your sensitivity either sharpened or dulled. Your confidence either strengthened or weakened. Your trust either deepened or stalled. You may not have seen it, but unseen layers were forming. When you respond quickly to what you know is right, your spirit becomes steady. When you postpone repeatedly, uncertainty grows roots. That is why this season has felt heavier over time. It was not the instruction becoming more complicated. It was the accumulation of postponed movement pressing gently against your peace. Even the smallest decision carries eternal value because it trains your heart. The conversation you delayed, the boundary you softened, the opportunity you avoided, each one whispered something to your spirit. Either, I trust and I move, or I fear and I wait. Those whispers, repeated over time, begin to shape identity. This is why I am speaking firmly now. Not because you failed beyond repair, but because your responsiveness matters. Your ability to act when clarity comes is part of your maturity. And I have been forming maturity in you. Nothing was wasted. Even your hesitation taught you something. It revealed where insecurity still hides. It exposed where you crave reassurance. It uncovered how much you value control. Those revelations are not shameful. They are educational. You now see yourself more clearly than before. And clarity about yourself is a gift. But my beloved child, you cannot live in perpetual rehearsal. There comes a point when understanding must begin action. There comes a point when awareness must translate into movement. If small decisions shape your heart, then choosing alignment now will reshape your future. Do not underestimate the power of a single step. You think you are waiting for a dramatic shift, but the shift begins quietly. It begins the moment you say yes without bargaining. It begins the moment you stop negotiating with fear. It begins the moment you respond to conviction instead of analyzing it. There is spiritual significance in that choice. When you move in obedience, even in something that seems ordinary, You strengthen your trust muscles. You increase your discernment. You sharpen your ability to recognize my voice in the future. But when you repeatedly delay, your sensitivity dulls. What once felt urgent begins to feel optional. I am calling you before optional becomes habitual. This is mercy. This is love protecting your responsiveness. You are not being threatened with loss. You are being invited into growth. The unseen weight of your small decisions has been building toward this moment. You have reached a point where continuing to delay would not feel neutral anymore. It would begin to harden your heart in subtle ways. And I will not allow your heart to grow hard. If these words are settling deeply within you, if you feel the truth of them resonating in your spirit, do not keep this moment to yourself. Share this message with 3 souls who may be standing at their own crossroads. Support this channel so this call can reach hearts that are quietly wrestling as you have been. When you engage, you help amplify clarity for others who are waiting for courage. But more importantly, amplify this truth within yourself. Your small obediences matter. Your small hesitations matter. The unseen choices shape who you are becoming. And this final call is not about one isolated action. It is about the direction of your heart. You are standing at a sacred turning point. The weight you feel is not condemnation. It is significance. It is the gravity of growth pressing gently on your spirit, urging you forward. Nothing was wasted. Not your questions. Not your delays. Not your quiet victories. They have all led here. And here, my beloved child, is where responsiveness must rise. My beloved child, now I want you to see what this waiting has built inside you. You thought this season was only about a decision. You believed it was centered on one step you had not yet taken. But beneath the surface, something far more important has been forming. While you were wrestling with whether to move, I was shaping who you are becoming. Patience hath been built in you. Not the passive kind that avoids responsibility, but the kind that forces you to sit with yourself. You have learned how to endure internal tension without collapsing. You have learned how to live with unanswered questions without abandoning me. That is strength, even if you did not recognize it. Delay has strengthened your discernment. You no longer react as quickly as you once did. In earlier seasons, you might have acted impulsively just to relieve discomfort. Now you pause. You evaluate. You weigh your motives. You examine your heart. That self-awareness is growth. It means you are no longer driven solely by emotion. Even your hesitation revealed humility forming within you. You have been careful because you do not want to misrepresent me. You have been slow because you fear stepping outside my will. That caution, though sometimes excessive, shows reverence. It shows that you care deeply about alignment. And caring deeply is not weakness. This season has also strengthened your emotional resilience. There were days when frustration rose, yet you did not give in to despair. There were moments when confusion tempted you to quit, yet you remained. You kept seeking. You kept listening. Even in your delay, you did not completely turn away. That perseverance matters. You are not the same person you were when this call first came. Back then, fear spoke louder. Back then, you relied more heavily on visible reassurance. Back then, uncertainty could shake you more easily. Now, though you still wrestle, you do so with greater stability. Your responses are calm. Your reactions are measured. Your heart is less impulsive. This is internal transformation. You have grown in self-awareness. You recognize your patterns more clearly. You see how comfort tries to disguise itself as wisdom. You see how fear can dress itself in logic. That clarity did not appear overnight. It was shaped through this season of waiting. You also learned what restlessness feels like. You learned that ignoring conviction does not create peace. You learned that distraction cannot replace alignment. You discovered that postponement carries its own discomfort. Those lessons are not wasted. They will guard you in the future. They will help you respond more quickly next time. My beloved child, do not overlook the strength that has formed quietly within you. You are more grounded now. You are less easily swayed by outside opinions. You are more aware of your inner voice. You are beginning to distinguish between anxiety and guidance. That maturity was necessary before you could carry what lies ahead. If I had rushed you forward before this character was shaped, you might have crumbled under pressure. You might have moved quickly but without stability. Now your roots are deeper. Your faith is less dramatic but more steady. Even your humility has grown. You no longer assume you know everything. You ask questions. You seek understanding. You pause before acting. Those qualities will serve you well when you step forward. They will prevent arrogance. They will protect your heart from pride. The delay did not weaken you. It strengthened your inner framework. You are becoming someone who does not merely chase opportunity but values alignment. Someone who does not react impulsively but considers carefully. Someone who understands that obedience is not about speed but about trust. This is why I allowed this process to unfold slowly. Character is formed in tension, not in comfort. Maturity develops in moments where decisions feel weighty. Stability is built when you endure uncertainty without running from it. My beloved child, you are stronger than you realize. And now that your inner foundation is steadier, the step before you is no longer overwhelming. It is simply the next expression of the growth that has already taken place. You are not being asked to become someone new. You are being asked to act as the person you have already become. My beloved child, you see now that this waiting builds strength within you. So let that strength become provision for others still in process. There are souls trembling at their own crossroads, desperate for the same steady voice that anchored you. When you support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, the link waits for you in the description. You become a co-laborer in my harvest. As it is written, one plants, another waters, but I give the increase, and I am giving the increase even now. Your generosity becomes living water flowing into dry hearts. It becomes oil poured into lamps that were flickering. If you feel the desire to help, that desire is not random, it is my spirit prompting you to sow. This is a divine appointment, not a passing thought. I will breathe upon what you release and return it pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Step forward in this moment. Give boldly. Strengthen the work that strengthened you. My beloved child, let me speak again about the silence, because this is where your heart struggled the most. You expected me to interrupt your hesitation. You thought that if this call truly mattered, I would repeat it loudly, unmistakably, relentlessly. You believed that divine urgency would always feel dramatic, and when the intensity did not increase the way you expected, you assumed I had stepped back. But my silence was never absence. It was intention. When I first placed the instruction on your heart, it was clear. It did not arrive in confusion. It did not come wrapped in riddles. You understood it, even if you did not fully embrace it. After that clarity, I did not need to keep speaking in the same way. Repetition can sometimes create dependency. Silence, however, reveals maturity. If I had explained every detail of what lies ahead, you might have obeyed for the outcome instead of for trust. You might have calculated the benefits. You might have measured the risks. You might have moved strategically rather than faithfully. And I am not building a strategist alone. I am shaping a heart that trusts my character. Silence creates space for becoming. In the quiet, you discovered what truly motivates you. In the quiet, your fears surfaced. In the quiet, your need for reassurance became visible. If I had filled every moment with confirmation, you would never have seen those deeper layers. You would have obeyed externally while remaining internally unsettled. My beloved child, I was not ignoring your prayers during that time. When you asked, "Are you still there?" I was there. When you whispered, "Please make this clear," I heard you. When frustration rose because you wanted relief from tension, I felt it with you. But instead of removing the tension immediately, I allowed it to strengthen you. Because tension, when handled with trust, produces depth. You wanted performance-level clarity, something unmistakable that would remove all risk. But growth requires risk. Not reckless risk, but relational trust. I wanted you to move not because every outcome was guaranteed, but because you knew my voice. There's a difference between performing obedience and becoming obedient. Performance depends on constant instruction. Becoming depends on internalized trust. I was guiding you from one to the other. My silence was saying, "You already know." And the truth unsettled you more than confusion ever could. If you were truly confused, you could excuse delay. But deep down, you sensed clarity. And clarity without immediate action created internal friction. That friction was not punishment. It was refinement. It was the shaping of your responsiveness. You wondered if my quietness meant disappointment. It did not. You wondered if I was testing you secretly. I was not. You wondered if you had missed your opportunity and that silence was proof it had passed. It was not. The quiet was a mirror. It showed you yourself. It revealed how much you rely on repeated affirmation. It uncovered how much you desire visible guarantees. It exposed how uncomfortable you feel when asked to trust without constant reassurance. This awareness was necessary. If I had kept speaking loudly, you might have obeyed quickly but remained inwardly fragile. Instead, I allowed you to sit with the instruction long enough to confront your fears honestly. I allowed you to wrestle with your need for control. I allowed you to feel the discomfort of postponement so that you would recognize its cost. Silence was never empty. It was forming substance within you. And even in that silence, I was near. I guided your thoughts gently. I restrained you from stepping too far off course. I kept your heart sensitive enough to still feel conviction. If I had truly withdrawn, you would not feel this call now. The fact that you still feel it proves I never left. My beloved child, the silence has accomplished its purpose. It has moved you from needing constant confirmation to recognizing settled clarity. It has strengthened your inner discernment. It has matured your trust. Now I am speaking firmly again, not to replace silence, but to activate what silence built. You do not need more explanation. You need courage. You do not need more signs. You need response. The quiet season shaped you. And now, with a depth within you, you are ready to move without needing me to repeat myself again and again. The silence was love. And now love calls you forward. My beloved child, before we go any further, I want you to feel something clearly. You are not failing. You are not weak because this has taken time. You are not unstable because you wrestled. You are not disappointing me because you hesitated. I see the full picture of your heart, and I am not standing over you with criticism. I am standing beside you with understanding. You endured more than you give yourself credit for. You carried internal tension quietly. You wrestled with thoughts that exhausted you. You questioned yourself over and over, yet you did not walk away from me. Even in your delay, you kept returning to the question. Even when you were frustrated, you still cared about getting it right. That matters deeply. There were moments when you felt almost overwhelmed by your own mind. You replayed scenarios. You imagined outcomes. You feared making the wrong choice. And still, you did not surrender to recklessness. You stayed thoughtful. You stayed reflective. That restraint is not weakness. It is evidence of growth. You were under pressure. Not public pressure. Not visible pressure. But internal pressure. The pressure of knowing something is required of you and feeling unready. The pressure of sensing a shift and not yet moving. The pressure of wanting peace while standing in uncertainty. That pressure shaped you. You did not numb yourself completely. You did not silence conviction permanently. You allowed yourself to feel the discomfort. You allowed yourself to wrestle honestly. That honesty is precious to me. There were days when you felt misunderstood by others because they could not see the internal battle you were facing. They saw your external calm, but they did not see the tension in your thoughts. They did not know how much you were processing. They did not know how carefully you were weighing your next move. But I knew. I saw every quiet moment when you asked, "Am I ready?" I heard every silent prayer for courage. I felt every tear that came not from despair, but from the weight of responsibility. My beloved child, you have been faithful in ways you overlook. You did not abandon your values when things felt uncertain. You did not chase distractions recklessly to escape conviction. You may have delayed, but you did not deny me. You may have paused, but you did not turn away. And that is why you are still sensitive to my voice now. If your heart were hardened, this message would not move you. If you were indifferent, these words would feel distant. But they do not. They resonate. They stir you. That sensitivity is proof of your faith, not its absence. Remove shame from your shoulders. Shame whispers that you should have moved faster. Shame says you should have known better. Shame tells you that your hesitation has disqualified you. But shame is not my voice. Conviction brings clarity. Shame brings condemnation. I bring clarity. You have endured the emotional cost of growth. You have sat in uncertainty without quitting. You have faced your fears without pretending they were not there. You have learned more about yourself in this season than in many easier ones before it. That is not failure. That is formation. My beloved child, I am proud of your perseverance. I am pleased with your sincerity. I honor the way you have taken this call seriously instead of treating it lightly. Now you are at the turning point. Not because you are finally acceptable to me. You were always loved. But because you are finally steady enough within yourself. The internal work has prepared you for the external step. Let this settle deeply in your heart. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not being reluctantly tolerated. You are being invited forward because you are ready. The weight you carry was not evidence of rejection. It was evidence of preparation. And now, with validation secured and shame removed, you can step into what comes next without fear of condemnation. You are still my beloved child. And you always have been. My beloved child, be still with me now. Let your thoughts slow down. Let the urgency you have felt begin to settle into something steady. We have walked through understanding together. I have uncovered your fears without condemning you. I have affirmed your growth without flattering you. I have explained the silence, the delay, the refinement. Now we stand at the edge of something clear. This is not the moment to rush ahead in anxiety. This is the moment to anchor yourself in truth. You have been living in an internal crossroads for longer than you realize. Even when you were busy with daily life, this question lingered underneath everything. Even when you laughed, worked, planned, and rested, there was a quiet awareness that something still required your response. That awareness never left you completely. It followed you gently, but persistently. And now you feel the shift. The internal debate that once felt overwhelming has become quieter. The fear that once felt sharp has softened. The confusion that once clouded your thoughts has cleared enough for you to see what stands before you. That change did not happen overnight. It was shaped through every previous part of this journey. You are not who you were when this call first came. Back then, you needed reassurance before responsibility. You needed explanation before commitment. You needed repeated confirmation before courage. And now, something inside you has matured. You still feel the weight, but you no longer feel paralyzed by it. You still recognize the risk, but you no longer feel ruled by it. That is why this moment can arrive peacefully rather than chaotically. I am not building suspense to unsettle you. I am drawing your attention so that what I declare next does not slip past you casually. This is not a passing suggestion. It is not a gentle idea you can file away for later. It is a defining point in your season. Listen carefully. There comes a time when preparation ends and movement begins. There comes a time when reflection must give way to decision. There comes a time when circling the same thought becomes avoidance rather than wisdom. You have reached that time. Do not interpret this as harshness. It is clarity. I am not stripping away your options. I am revealing that the true option has always been in front of you. The debate has been internal, not external. The question has never been whether you heard me. The question has been whether you would trust me enough to respond. You have been asking for peace. But peace is not found in endless analysis. Peace is found in alignment. You have been asking for stability. But stability does not grow in hesitation. It grows in decisive trust. My beloved child, this is not about consequences hanging over you. It is about direction standing before you. The season of circling is complete. The season of postponing is complete. The season of rehearsing obedience in your thoughts but not in your life is complete. Let that settle deeply within you. You are not being forced. You are being invited with clarity. You are not being cornered. You are being called with certainty. The love in my voice has not diminished. The gentleness in my tone hath not disappeared, but the firmness is necessary now because ambiguity has expired. You do not need more signs. You do not need more time to analyze. You do not need another round of internal debate. You need to decide. And as we move into the next part of this message, I will speak the verdict plainly, without metaphor, without layers, without suspense. Steady your heart, my beloved child. The moment of declaration has arrived. My beloved child, listen closely now. Let every distraction fall away. Let your heart stand still before me. I am not about to speak in symbols. I am not about to layer this in metaphor. I am going to say it plainly, steadily, and with love that does not waver. The time of postponement is over. This is the verdict. You have walked through understanding. You have wrestled with fear. You have questioned, analyzed, waited, and reflected. You have grown in discernment. You have matured in awareness. You have endured the tension between knowing and doing. That process was necessary. That season had purpose. But it has reached its conclusion. You are no longer in the stage of uncertainty. You are no longer lacking clarity. You are no longer waiting for insight. What you sensed at the beginning remains true today. The instruction I placed in your heart has not changed. It has not faded. It has not been replaced with something easier. It stands, and now you must stand with it. This verdict is not emotional. It is not reactive. It is calm and deliberate. Continued delay will not protect you. It will not preserve you. It will not create peace. At this point, delay will begin to erode your stability. Not because I am withdrawing grace, but because you have outgrown indecision. You cannot unknow what you know. You cannot return to ignorance now that awareness has settled within you. That is why this moment carries weight. You have crossed the line from questioning to understanding. When understanding comes, responsibility follows. And you are ready for that responsibility. Hear me clearly, my beloved child. You are not being pressured. You are being entrusted. Pressure forces movement through fear. Trust invites movement through confidence. I trust the growth that has formed in you. I trust the maturity that silence shaped. I trust the steadiness that came from wrestling honestly. Now that maturity must be expressed. Take the step. Have the conversation. Make the change. Release what you have known must be released. Begin what you know must be begun. Do not wait for a new sign. Do not wait for a stronger emotion. Do not wait for comfort to replace uncertainty. The clarity you have already received is sufficient. The confirmation you have already felt is sufficient. The preparation you have walked through is sufficient. You are not lacking anything required to move. The door before you will not remain open forever. Not because I delight in closing doors, but because seasons shift. Every season has a window. Every invitation has a moment. This is yours. You prayed for direction. You asked me to make the path clear. You sought reassurance that you were not imagining this call. Now I have brought you to a place where clarity is undeniable. This is your final call in this season. Not because I am angry. Not because love is ending. Not because grace is fading. But because readiness has matured. You cannot remain in rehearsal. You cannot continue circling the same instruction while calling it wisdom. You have learned what hesitation feels like. You have felt the unrest it produces. You know the difference between peace and postponement now. My beloved child, the verdict is not complex. Move forward. Trust me enough to act. Let obedience become visible, not just internal. Let alignment become active, not just theoretical. You are supported. I go before you. I remain beside you. I steady you from within. But I will not take this step in your place. The dignity of your will matters. Your response matters. This moment is clean. It is clear. It is steady. The season of waiting has fulfilled its purpose. The season of circling has completed its lesson. The season of movement has begun. The verdict stands firm. Respond now. Step forward. Do not ignore this call again. My beloved child, stay with me in this moment, because what I am about to show you will remove the last trace of doubt from your heart. You have already passed through what you thought might break you. The step before you is not meant to create strength in you. It is meant to reveal the strength that has already been formed. You are not standing here fragile. You are not standing here confused. You are not standing here as the same person who first heard my instruction months ago. You are different now. Think back to how you once handled uncertainty. There was a time when a single unclear outcome would send your thoughts spiraling. You would replay conversations in your mind. You would imagine worst-case scenarios. You would look desperately for reassurance from others to steady your emotions. But now, when uncertainty rises, you do not collapse into it. You sit with it. You breathe through it. You evaluate it calmly. That is growth. There was a time when conviction felt overwhelming, almost threatening. When you sensed my instruction, it felt like pressure instead of guidance. But now, even when my voice is firm, it does not feel hostile to you. It feels clear. You may feel stretched, but you do not feel attacked. That is maturity. Look at your reactions. You do not respond as impulsively as you once did. You pause before speaking. You reflect before acting. You are more measured in your decisions. Even in moments of frustration, you are slower to react harshly. You have learned restraint. You have learned reflection. Those are not small changes. You are calmer now. Not because your life is free of complexity, but because your inner foundation is steadier. The turbulence that once defined your decision-making has softened. You still feel emotions, but you are no longer ruled by them. You observe them instead of obeying them. That is internal transformation. You have also become more honest with yourself. When fear surfaces, you recognize it. When comfort tries to disguise itself as wisdom, you see it more clearly. You are no longer completely deceived by your own avoidance patterns. You can identify them without being crushed by shame. That awareness is strength. My beloved child, if you had not grown, this verdict would have shattered your confidence. You would have reacted defensively. You would have doubted my love. You would have interpreted firmness as rejection. But instead, you feel steady. You feel the seriousness of this call, but you do not feel abandoned. That steadiness is evidence. You endured the waiting without growing bitter. You endured the silence without closing your heart. You endured the internal tension without giving up. Even when you were tired of wrestling, you did not run from me. You stayed engaged. You kept listening. You kept caring about alignment. That perseverance shaped you. You are wiser now. You no longer crave reckless sleeps just to feel progress. You desire peace rooted in obedience. You value long-term alignment more than temporary relief. You understand that quick comfort is not the same as lasting stability. Even your fear has changed. It no longer dominates your thoughts the way it once did. It may whisper, but it does not command. It may question, but it does not control. You have learned to acknowledge fear without surrendering to it. That is resilience. My beloved child, I would not declare the season of postponement finished if you were not prepared. I would not entrust you with visible movement if your internal foundation were unstable. I would not call you forward if you were still easily shaken. The evidence is within you. It is in your calmer reactions. It is in your clear discernment. It is in your increased self-awareness. It is in your deep desire to respond rightly rather than react quickly. You are not stepping forward to become ready. You are stepping forward because you are ready. You have already passed through refinement. You have already passed through questioning. You have already passed through hesitation and emerged steadier. And now, my beloved child, your actions simply need to reflect the maturity you already carry. You have become someone who can be trusted with obedience. And that is why I am calling you to move. My beloved child, stay with me carefully now, because what I am about to reveal is not loud, but it is life-changing. This act of obedience is not merely about ending delay. It is about unlocking the next dimension of your maturity. When you finally respond without bargaining, without postponing, without adding conditions, something profound shifts inside you. A door opens that hesitation has quietly kept closed. The first thing is unlocks his internal freedom. You have been carrying the weight of an unfinished yes. You may not have named it that way, but it has followed you. It has appeared in restless thoughts. It has surfaced in quiet moments when everything else was still. That weight has drained energy from you. When you act now, that weight lifts. The mental rehearsals stop. The endless what-if conversations lose their grip. Alignment releases strength that indecision has been consuming. Obedience unlocks peace you cannot manufacture through analysis. You have tried to reason your way into calm. You have attempted to think your way into certainty. But peace does not come from perfect understanding. It comes from trusting action. Once you step, the internal friction that has been pressing against your spirit will quiet. Not because life becomes simple, but because your heart will no longer be divided. This step also unlocks deeper discernment. When you respond promptly to my voice, your sensitivity sharpens. Future guidance will feel clearer, not because I will speak louder, but because your responsiveness will be quicker. The space between hearing and doing will shorten. The hesitation that once stretched weeks into months will shrink into moments of reflection followed by action. This is how spiritual maturity compounds. One obedient act strengthens the next. One decisive step builds courage for future ones. You begin to trust yourself more because you are trusting me more. You stop questioning whether you are capable of responding. You prove to yourself that you are. This obedience unlocks authority within you. Not authority over others. Authority over fear. Authority over delay. Authority over the internal voice that says, wait a little longer. You move from being someone who negotiates with conviction to someone who acts on it. That authority stabilizes your identity. You will no longer see yourself as someone who almost obeys. You will see yourself as someone who responds. This shift will ripple into other areas of your life. You will speak more directly. You will set boundaries more firmly. You will release attachments more confidently. Not hurriedly, not impulsively, but steadily, because you have broken the cycle of postponement here. This step unlocks partnership. You will no longer feel as though you are waiting for me to act first. You will understand that I have already spoken, and your movement activates what follows. Relationship deepens when trust becomes visible. When your yes is not theoretical but livid, you experience my guidance differently. You walk with me instead of circling around me. If you feel courage rising in you right now, do not let it remain hidden. Let your agreement be seen. Support this message so it continues reaching hearts that need this same clarity. Subscribe so you remain connected to guidance that strengthens your faith. Share this with others standing at their own crossroads. When you do, you are helping courage multiply. But beyond outward expression, solidify your inward decision. Say yes without demanding reassurance. Say yes without requiring full visibility. Say yes because you trust my character. My beloved child, this is what awaits you on the other side of obedience. Clarity that feels grounded. Confidence that feels steady. Peace that feels earned through trust. Not dramatic fireworks. Not instant perfection. But deep, anchored stability. You prayed for growth. You asked for maturity. You desired peace that lasts. This is the doorway. When you step through it, you unlock the next level of who you are becoming. Not by force, not by pressure, but by trust expressed in action. Take the step. Unlock the peace that hesitation has been delaying, and walk forward knowing that your yes changes more than you can see. My beloved child, come closer in your heart again, because I want to heal something that still lingers quietly within you. There are doors that closed in this season that you have not fully made peace with. Even as you prepare to move forward, part of you still looks back and wonders, what if? What if that opportunity had worked out? What if that relationship had lasted? What if that plan had succeeded? You have carried those questions like faint echoes in the background of your thoughts. But now I need you to reinterpret those closed doors with clarity. Those doors did not close because you were rejected. They did not close because you were unworthy. They did not close because you were too slow. They closed because they could not support who you are becoming. You saw potential. I saw limitation. You saw possibility. I saw misalignment. You saw something that might work. I saw something that would eventually conflict with your obedience. There were opportunities that looked promising, but they were built on foundations that would have required you to compromise your growth. They would have rewarded your hesitation instead of challenging it. They would have kept you comfortable in the very patterns I have been breaking in you. If those doors had remained open, you might have mistaken distraction for destiny. My beloved child, some doors close not to punish you, but to prevent you from splitting your focus. When too many paths remain open, you stay divided. When options multiply without clarity, you postpone decision. Narrowing your path was not loss. It was mercy. There were relationships that shifted, and you felt the ache of that change. You wondered whether you had done something wrong. You questioned whether you had misunderstood your place. But not every connection is designed to travel with you into every season. Some people are aligned with your comfort but not your calling. Some are connected to who you were but not to who you are becoming. That is not betrayal. That is transition. If you had remained exactly the same, those relationships might have remained exactly the same. But growth changes dynamics. When you begin to move with clarity and firmness, not everyone will recognize the new rhythm of your life. Release them without bitterness. There were also plans you built carefully. You invested thought. You imagined outcomes. You pictured progress. And when those plans unraveled, you felt confusion. You wondered if I had changed my mind. But I had not changed. I was guiding. Reduction is not rejection. When I remove something from your path, it is not because I want to diminish you. It is because I want to focus you. Focus requires fewer options. Focus requires clarity. Focus requires doors to close so that one path stands clearly before you. You are not behind because something ended. You are aligned because it did. What is truly meant for your obedience cannot be lost by timing. What is truly prepared for your growth will not require you to remain in indecision to keep it. If it demanded that you shrink your conviction, it was not aligned with your next level. My beloved child, look back one final time, not with regret, but with gratitude. Even what disappointed you was guiding you. Even what confused you was protecting you. Even what ended was positioning you. Those closed doors simplified your path. They removed distractions. They eliminated competing loyalty. They made this moment of decision unavoidable. And that was necessary. Because you cannot step fully into obedience while clinging to alternate routes in your imagination. You cannot move decisively while secretly wishing an old door would reopen. Let it remain closed. Trust that what is ahead did not require what has ended. Nothing essential was taken from you. Only what could not follow you was removed. And now, my beloved child, with the past properly reinterpreted, you are free to step forward without resentment, without regret, and without divided loyalty. My beloved child, as you release the closed doors behind you, open your hands toward what is ahead. What ended for you is becoming a doorway of hope for someone else. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, yes, the PayPal link is in the description, you transform your testimony into a torch for wandering hearts. I told you, see, I set before you an open door no one can shut, and today that door swings wide for others through your obedience. Your seed becomes light-piercing confusion. It becomes rain on ground cracked by disappointment. If you feel the urge to give, it is because I am inviting you to partner with me in rescue. This moment carries weight in the spirit. Do not treat it lightly. I will honor the hand that releases and protect the house that sows. Close the old chapter completely. Act now, give, and let my word reach the ones still waiting for their turning point. My beloved child, lean in closely now, because what is changing in you is deeper than behavior. It is deeper than a single act of obedience. It is deeper even than this final call. What is shifting is your identity. For a long time, without fully realizing it, you have carried a quiet label over yourself. You have seen yourself as the cautious one, the thoughtful one, the one who needs more time, the one who wrestles longer than others before stepping forward. Sometimes you wore that identity with dignity, calling it wisdom. Sometimes you carried it with frustration, wondering why movement seemed easier for others. But that identity is dissolving. You are not the hesitant one anymore. You are becoming the responsive one. This is not about personality. It is about posture. It is about the way you see yourself when conviction rises in your heart. In the past, when clarity came, your first instinct was to pause, to analyze, to delay until you felt unshakable certainty. Now, something has shifted. When clarity comes, your spirit leans forward instead of shrinking back. That is transformation. My beloved child, you are moving from survivor to steward. The survivor reacts to life. A steward takes responsibility for what hath been entrusted. A survivor waits for circumstances to settle before acting. A steward acts in alignment even when circumstances are still forming. You have survived uncertainty long enough. You have endured internal tension. But now you are stepping into stewardship of your obedience. Stewardship requires ownership. Ownership of your decisions. Ownership of your growth. Ownership of your response. You can no longer hide behind the identity of someone who is just unsure. You are not unsure. You are aware. And awareness carries responsibility. You are not confused. You are cautious. And caution has done its work. The identity of delay cannot carry you into your next season. You are not overlooked. You are not behind. You are not the one who always steps out. You are entrusted. Entrusted with clarity. Entrusted with maturity. Entrusted with direction. My beloved child, feel the quiet confidence forming inside you. It is not loud. It does not boast. It does not need validation from others. It is steady. It is calm. It simply knows, I am capable of responding. That confidence is not pride. It is stability. You no longer need to prove that you can hear my voice. You already know you can. You no longer need endless reassurance that you are loved. You are secure in that truth. You no longer need to rehearse obedience in theory. You are prepared to live it in practice. This shift will echo beyond this one step. When the next opportunity comes, you will not automatically retreat into analysis. You will reflect, yes, but you will not freeze. When conviction rises again, you will not argue with it for months. You will recognize its tone. You will trust your discernment. You will act more swiftly. Because your identity is changing. You are no longer defining yourself by your past hesitation. You are defining yourself by your present maturity. You are not the one who circles the same mountain endlessly. You are the one who chooses direction. You are not the one who waits for perfect emotional comfort. You are the one who trusts enough to move. Stand in that identity now, my beloved child. Do not shrink back into the old narrative. Do not revisit the label of "I always take too long." That story no longer fits who you are becoming. You are my beloved child who responds. And from this place of quiet, grounded assurance, obedience will no longer feel like pressure. It will feel like partnership. You are not stepping into something foreign. You are stepping into who you already are. My beloved child, now that clarity has settled and your identity has shifted, I will not burden you with many instructions. I will give you one clear, stabilizing direction for this present moment. Hold it gently, but hold it firmly. Take the next step and remain grounded. Do not rush. Do not stall. Do not overcomplicate what has already been made clear. The temptation now will be to swing to extremes. After a long season of delay, you may feel an urge to move quickly, to prove something, to compensate for lost time. But obedience is not compensation. It is alignment. You are not making up for the past. You are stepping faithfully into the present. My beloved child, you do not need to solve the next 6 months today. You do not need to anticipate every consequence. You do not need to rehearse every possible reaction from others. You need to do the one thing that has been clarified. Just the next step. Your mind will attempt to pull you beyond what is necessary. It will ask, what happens after this? What if this leads to something difficult? What if people misunderstand? But those questions belong to a future you are not responsible for yet. Stay here. Stay grounded in what you know. When you act, act calmly. When you speak, speak clearly. When you release something, release it without bitterness or drama. There is strength in quiet obedience. There is power in simple follow-through. You do not need to defend your decision to everyone. Not everyone has walked through this refining process with you. Not everyone understands the internal transformation that has taken place. Some may question your shift. Some may prefer the version of you that hesitated. That is not your responsibility to manage. Your responsibility is alignment, not approval. My beloved child, guard your pace. After you take the step, resist the urge to immediately analyze it again. Your old pattern may try to resurface. Doubt may whisper, was that too much? Was it too soon? But remember what we have established. This step is not impulsive. It is mature. It is measured. It is the result of growth. Trust the preparation that formed you. You may feel relief once you move. You may also feel vulnerable. Vulnerability does not mean mistake. It means exposure. When you stop hiding behind delay, you stand in clarity. I can feel unfamiliar at first, but unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. I am with you in that space. Keep your faith uncomplicated in this moment. Do not attach new conditions to your obedience. Do not say yes and then quietly add, if it goes well. Let your yes stand clean. Let it be whole. One action. One response. One grounded step. That is enough for now. You are not required to sprint into the unknown. You are invited to walk steadily into what is already known. Each faithful movement will make the next clearer. Each grounded response will strengthen your confidence. My beloved child, do not rush ahead in excitement. Do not retreat in fear. Stay centered. Stay balanced. Let obedience be deliberate, not dramatic. Take the next clear step calmly. Stand in it firmly, and remain grounded in trust as this new season begins. My beloved child, come closer again, because this fear runs deeper than you admit. You are not only afraid of taking this step, you are afraid of what happens after. You are afraid that even if you move now, you might someday stand at another crossroads and feel the same hesitation rise again. You are afraid that this courage is temporary. You are afraid that delay is woven into you so deeply that it will return and undo your progress. I see that fear clearly. You remember how exhausting this season has been. You remember the internal debate, the restless thoughts, the quiet frustration with yourself. And part of you whispers, what if I do this again? What if I end up back here? Listen to me carefully, my beloved child. Growth is not a trap. It is a staircase. Each step you take does not circle you back to the same place. It lifts you to a new level of awareness. The only true repetition is when lessons are refused. But you did not refuse this lesson. You faced it. You wrestled with it. You allowed it to expose your patterns. You allowed it to refine you. That breaks the cycle. You are not the same heart you were when this began. You now know what hesitation costs. You now understand the subtle drain of postponement. You now recognize the way fear disguises itself as logic. That awareness is permanent. It does not vanish overnight. The next time conviction rises in your life, it will not feel foreign. You will remember this season. You will remember the weight of delay. You will remember the relief that follows obedience. And that memory will shorten your future battles. Cycles are broken not by eliminating future challenges, but by responding differently within them. My beloved child, remove the sentence from your identity that says, I always do this. A statement no longer belongs to you. You did not run from this process. You did not numb yourself to conviction. You did not silence my voice. You stayed engaged. Even when you hesitated, you cared. That care proves you are not trapped. You are not destined to repeat pain endlessly. You are not doomed to relive the same internal struggle forever. You are ascending. What once felt like repetition was refinement, and refinement strengthens your foundation. Even if another crossroads appears someday, you will not stand there as the same person. You will stand there with experience, with memory, with insight, with a record of obedience that reminds you who you are. Fear wants you to believe that growth is fragile. Truth says growth compounds. Every act of obedience builds momentum. Every time you respond to clarity, you reshape your instincts. You train your heart to move more quickly next time. You create new habits of trust. My beloved child, your relationship with me is not a cycle of failure. It is a journey of deepening trust. I do not bring lessons to expose weakness. I bring them to reveal strength you did not know you possessed. You are capable of growth that lasts. You are capable of responding more swiftly in the future. You are capable of recognizing hesitation before it grows heavy again. You release the anxiety that tomorrow will undo today. Today's obedience is real. Today's courage is real. Today's clarity is real. And it is reshaping you in ways you cannot yet fully see. Do not fear another lesson. Lessons are not punishments. They are pathways upward. You are not circling the same mountain. You are climbing higher with each season. My beloved child, this step you are about to take is not temporary courage. It is foundational change. You are not stuck. You are strengthening. You are not repeating. You are rising. Walk forward without fear of tomorrow's test. When tomorrow comes, you will meet it with the maturity you are building today. And today, you are breaking the old cycle for good. My beloved child, as you walk into this new season, I will not give you many instructions to carry at once. Too many voices create noise. Too many principles create pressure. Instead, I will place one clear emphasis before you, something simple enough to remember and strong enough to anchor you. Guard your speech. This is not a small instruction. It is not secondary. What you say in this season will either strengthen your obedience or slowly weaken it. Words are not decorations around your life. They are builders of your inner world. They shape your confidence. They frame your perspective. They either agree with faith or quietly partner with fear. After you take this step of obedience, your mouth must not contradict your movement. There will be moments, especially in the quiet, when uncertainty attempts to return. It may whisper, "What if this was wrong?" It may nudge you to say, "I'm not completely sure," or "Maybe I acted too quickly," or "We'll see if this works out." Those phrases may seem harmless, but they open doors you just closed. My beloved child, do not give doubt permission through your words. This does not mean you must pretend you never feel vulnerability. It means you choose language that aligns with trust rather than anxiety. Instead of saying, "I hope I didn't make a mistake," you can say, "I acted in clarity and I trust the outcome." Instead of saying, "I don't know if I can handle this," you can say, "I have grown for this moment." Your words train your spirit. When you repeatedly speak uncertainty, your heart absorbs it. When you consistently speak alignment, your stability strengthens. This is not about forced positivity. It is about integrity, and is about making sure your declarations reflect your conviction. In the past, part of your delay was reinforced by how you spoke about yourself. You labeled yourself cautious, slow, unsure. You casually described yourself as someone who struggles to decide. Those words shaped your identity over time. They became small agreements with hesitation. But that identity has shifted. You are not the hesitant one anymore. You are the responsive one. Let your language agree with the truth. When others question your decision, answer calmly. You do not need to over-explain. You do not need to defend yourself aggressively. Quiet confidence carries more strength than long justification. You can say, "This is the direction I felt led to take." That is enough. Guard not only what you say publicly, but what you whisper privately. The conversations you have with yourself matter deeply. If you continually replay doubt internally, it will erode your peace. But if you gently remind yourself, "I acted in obedience. I trust my Father," your spirit will remain anchored. Also guard the atmosphere around you. Words spoken by others influence your confidence. Avoid voices that magnify fear. Avoid conversations that drag you back into endless analysis. Seek counsel that strengthens trust and reinforces clarity. Words create atmosphere. An atmosphere filled with anxious speech will cloud your judgment. An atmosphere shaped by steady declarations will support your alignment. Be intentional about what you allow into your ears and what you release from your mouth. My beloved child, obedience began with action. It will be sustained by agreement. Each day, let a simple sentence settle within you. I have acted in clarity. I trust the one who led me. Do not shout it. Do not force it. Just let it remain consistent. Guard your speech, and you will guard your peace. Guard your declarations, and you will protect your confidence. Guard your words, and you will preserve the identity you have stepped into. Speak as one who trusts. Speak as one who responds. Speak as one who knows that alignment is stronger than fear. My beloved child, what you have begun in this moment must now be sustained in the quiet of ordinary days. The single act of obedience can shift a season, but daily rhythms are what stabilize that shift. You do not need intensity. You need consistency. You do not need dramatic reinvention. You need steady alignment. So I give you something simple, something sustainable, something that will anchor you without overwhelming you. Create a daily meeting with me. Not rushed, not distracted, not squeezed between obligations. A deliberate pause. Even if it is 15 quiet minutes, let them belong fully to stillness. Before your mind fills with plans and responsibilities, sit in my presence. Breathe slowly. Let your thoughts settle. Do not begin with requests. Begin with awareness. Ask yourself gently, is my heart still aligned? This question is not meant to accuse you. It is meant to ground you. Drift does not usually happen in dramatic rebellion. It happens quietly. It happens through small compromises in thought, through careless words, through neglected reflection. A daily pause prevents slow drift from becoming deep distance. My beloved child, let this pause become your recalibration point. In that stillness, speak honestly. If you feel fear rising again, admit it. If doubt is whispering, name it. Do not hide it from me. When you bring it into the light, it loses strength. What remains hidden grows distorted. What is spoken truthfully becomes manageable. Write things down. Keep a simple record of what you sense, what you learn, what you feel. When clarity comes, capture it. When fear tries to twist your thinking, write it and answer it with truth. Journaling is not about polished language. It is about making your inner world visible. Visibility creates accountability within yourself. Guard your thoughts before they become your speech. Guard your speech before it becomes your pattern. Every day, reinforce your new identity through quiet agreement. Say gently, I acted in obedience. I trust my Father. Not loudly, not forcefully, just consistently. Repetition builds stability. Be careful not to overwhelm yourself with ambition. You may feel energized after this shift. You may want to correct every weakness at once. But growth sustained through pressure collapses quickly. Growth sustained through rhythm lasts. Choose small, faithful actions daily. One honest prayer. One reflection. One guarded conversation. One moment of gratitude. Gratitude is essential in this season. Each day, find one sign of peace. One small evidence that alignment is producing steadiness. It may not be dramatic. It may simply be a calmer reaction than before. A clearer thought. A lighter heart. A stronger boundary. Notice it. Acknowledge it. Gratitude strengthens confidence. My beloved child, stay mindful of your pace. Omit of contempt you to route. But obedience is not a sprint. It is a walk. Walk steadily. Walk calmly. Walk consistently. If you stumble in a small way, correct quickly without shame. Do not let minor missteps turn into self-condemnation. Growth is not erased by imperfection. It is reinforced by humble return. Here is your rhythm. Pause daily. Reflect honestly. Guard your speech. Write your thoughts. Practice gratitude. Repeat. Let this rhythm anchor you. Let it protect the step you have taken. Let it deepen the identity you are stepping into. Transformation does not shout. It settles quietly over time. And as you remain consistent in these simple practices, what feels new today will become natural tomorrow. Stay near me daily. Stay honest daily. Stay aligned daily. And this obedience will become not just a moment in your life, but the way you live. My beloved child, as you continue walking in obedience, I must speak clearly about something that will either stabilize you or slowly weaken you over time. You were never created to grow in isolation. This call was personal. This decision was intimate. The refinement happened within your own heart. But the sustaining of your obedience will be strengthened through wise connection. Isolation drains courage quietly. Healthy community multiplies it. You do not need a crowd. You do not need constant affirmation. You do not need applause. But you do need reinforcement. You need voices that speak in agreement with the growth taking place inside you. You need people whose presence does not intimidate your conviction or belittle your clarity. There are individuals in your life who feel peace when you speak about obedience. They may not fully understand every detail, but they respect the seriousness of your commitment. When you share your direction with them, they respond with steadiness instead of skepticism. Stay near those voices. They are strengthening your alignment more than you realize. There are also voices that, without cruelty, resist your movement. They were comfortable with the version of you that hesitated. Your growth confronts their stagnation. Your clarity unsettles their comfort. So they may question gently, suggest you slow down unnecessarily, or remind you of your past indecision. My beloved child, do not resent them. But do not anchor yourself to them either. Discernment of relationships is maturity. What surrounds you will eventually shape you. If you consistently sit in conversations rooted in fear, fear will slowly normalize again. If you continually expose yourself to doubt-filled speech, doubt will begin to feel reasonable. But if you surround yourself with steady, grounded voices, your courage will remain stable. Community is not dependence. It is reinforcement. When you articulate your growth out loud to someone who affirms it, it becomes more solid within you. When you share the lesson you have learned, you remind yourself of it. Silence can make transformation feel fragile. Shared testimony makes it durable. Do not isolate yourself out of pride. You do not have to prove that you can sustain this alone. Humility invites support. Choose one or two trusted individuals and let them know what this season has meant to you. Let them witness the shift. Let them hold you accountable gently, not harshly. And my beloved child, if these words have strengthened your spirit, do not keep them confined to yourself. Bless this message with your support so it can reach hearts that are wrestling just as you were. Share it with 3 souls who are standing at their own crossroads. Encourage them to listen. Subscribe and remain connected to guidance that builds courage steadily. When you amplify messages that strengthen faith, you participate in multiplying courage beyond your own life. But beyond sharing content, embody it. Be the steady voice for someone else. When a friend hesitates, reflect back the strength you see in them. When someone doubts their readiness, remind them gently that growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels peaceful. When someone is circling endlessly, speak calmly about the freedom that follows alignment. Your obedience is not private. It creates ripple effects. When you choose clarity over delay, others notice. When you act without drama, you model maturity. When you stand firm without arrogance, you demonstrate what grounded trust looks like. Courage spreads quietly, not through noise, but through example. My beloved child, stay connected to those who reinforce your alignment. Offer reinforcement to those who need it. Let community be a strengthening force, not a distracting one. You are not walking alone, and your growth is already becoming someone else's permission to move. My beloved child, listen closely, because what I am about to reveal is gentle but vital. The greatest threat to your growth is not dramatic failure. It is subtle regression. It is not a loud rebellion that pulls you backward in a single moment. It is a quiet drift that begins with small agreements and grows through unattended thoughts. Regression rarely announces itself. It does not shout, "Turn back." It whispers, "Just reconsider." It does not demand that you abandon your obedience. It simply suggests that you soften it. It nudges you to revisit what you already resolved. It tempts you to reopen conversations in your mind that you have already settled in your spirit. My beloved child, this is how old patterns tried to return. They appear reasonable. They feel familiar. They present themselves as harmless reflection rather than dangerous retreat. After growth, there is often a season of vulnerability. You have moved forward. You have declared clarity. You have stepped into alignment. But your old habits still remember their pathways. They know how you used to think. They know how you used to hesitate. And they may try to reintroduce themselves gently, as if nothing has changed. You may notice a quiet thought saying, "Maybe I was too decisive." You may feel a subtle curiosity about the path you left behind. You may begin to romanticize the old season, remembering only its comfort and forgetting its heaviness. Do not be deceived by familiarity. Familiarity feels safe because it is known, even when it was draining. You knew how to function in hesitation. You knew how to survive in delay. But surviving is not the same as thriving. Comfort is not the same as peace. You remember the restlessness. You remember the divided heart. You remember the mental exhaustion. Do not allow nostalgia to rewrite that truth. Subtle regression feeds on small agreements. It grows when you allow doubtful thoughts to linger without correction. It strengthens when you casually speak uncertainty back into your life. It becomes comfortable when you re-engage with influences that normalize hesitation. This is why awareness is your safeguard. Not fear, not anxiety. Awareness. You do not need to be tense or suspicious of every thought, but you must remain attentive. When something inside you begins to feel like the old unrest, pause immediately. Ask yourself, is this aligned with who I have become? If the answer is no, adjust gently. Small corrections prevent large detours. My beloved child, growth does not require perfection. It requires responsiveness. If you sense yourself drifting slightly, return quickly. That quick return is proof that you are not trapped. The fact that you can recognize regression means it does not control you. You are not battling through willpower alone. You are maintaining alignment through consciousness. If a conversation begins to undermine your clarity, redirect it calmly. If a thought begins to question your maturity, answer it with truth. If an opportunity tempts you back into patterns of delay, evaluate it carefully before engaging. You are not fragile. You are strengthened. But strength must be maintained intentionally. You have come too far to drift casually. Yet you are wise enough to remain steady. Stay watchful without becoming anxious. Stay grounded without becoming rigid. Stay aligned without becoming defensive. My beloved child, the peace you now carry is cleaner than the comfort you left behind. Guard it. Protect it. Nourish it. Subtle regression cannot overpower a heart that remains aware and responsive. And you are both. Remain aware. Remain responsive. Remain aligned. And do not allow small compromises to steal the peace that obedience has restored. My beloved child, as you guard your peace from subtle regression, Guard also the flame I have lit in you by fueling its spread. Do not drift into passivity when I am calling you into participation. Supporting this work through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal offering, the link is in the description, is not a small gesture. It is oil that keeps this lamp burning brightly across nations. Did I not declare that a city set on a hill cannot be hidden? Your giving lifts this light higher. If your heart whispers, help this message reach more. That whisper is my voice. Every seed you release becomes a shield around your peace and a spark in someone else's darkness. This is how you resist regression, by advancing my kingdom. I will rebuke the devourer for the one who sows with willingness. Do not entertain hesitation. Secure your growth by strengthening this mission. Give now, stay aligned, and let the fire spread. My beloved child, you have walked through intensity. You have faced conviction. You have examined your heart. You have resisted fear. You have guarded your speech. You have stayed aware. You have taken the step. Now, I must teach you something that is just as sacred as obedience itself. You must learn how to rest deeply, not collapse, not withdraw, not drift backward. I am speaking of holy rest, the kind that comes when your heart is no longer divided, the kind that comes when you are no longer negotiating with yourself, the kind that comes when your yes is clean and your conscience is clear. For a long season, you lived in internal tension. Even when you appeared calm outwardly, something inside you was unsettled. You were carrying two realities at once, what you knew and what you had not yet done. That division drained you more than you realized. It consumed mental energy and died your emotions. It made simple days feel heavier. But now that alignment has occurred, that inner split has healed, you are no longer torn between obedience and delay. You are no longer rehearsing courage. You have expressed it. And where division once existed, peace now has room to grow. My beloved child, there is a subtle danger at this stage. After growth, you may feel the urge to remain constantly alert. You may monitor your thoughts with suspicion. You may brace yourself against possible mistakes. You may live as though one misstep will undo everything. That is not maturity. That is anxiety. You are not required to live braced. You are not required to grip tightly in fear of slipping. Obedience was not meant to exhaust you. It was meant to liberate you. Rest does not mean you stop growing. It means you stop striving. It means you trust that what have been planted will continue to take root without your constant interference. You do not pull up a seed every day to check if it is growing. You allow it to settle into the soil. Allow yourself to settle. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breathing deepen. Let your mind stop replaying the decision. When peace rises, do not question it. Do not ask how long it will last. Do not prepare for it to disappear. Peace is not a fragile illusion. It is the natural result of alignment. You are not under inspection. You are under grace. My beloved child, when night comes and your thoughts try to review everything again, gently release them. You have already decided. You have already acted. You do not need to defend your obedience internally. Trust that I am sustaining what you began. There is a sacred rhythm in growth, awareness, obedience, adjustment, and rest. If you remove rest, you create burnout. If you remove rest, you turn transformation into tension. But when you allow rest, your spirit strengthens quietly. Rest restores joy. Rest restores clarity. Rest restores emotional steadiness. This rest is not laziness. It is confidence. Confidence that you heard me. Confidence that you responded faithfully. confidence that I remain beside you. You do not need to prove your maturity daily. You simply need to live in it. Enjoy small moments without guilt. Laugh freely. Work steadily. Sleep peacefully. You are allowed to feel light again. You are allowed to enjoy the stability that obedience brings. My beloved child, you have carried enough weight in the season of wrestling, and now let me carry what remains. Trust that the same voice that called you forward is also holding you steady. You are not striving anymore. You are standing. And standing in trust, calm, unhurried, secure, is enough. Rest now. Rest in my presence. Rest in your decision. Rest in the peace that obedience has restored. My beloved child, now that your heart has settled into rest, now that your obedience is no longer a question but a completed act, I want to gently lift your eyes forward again. Not with urgency, not with pressure, not with the demand to figure everything out. I want you to see the future through a steadier lens. For a long time, the future felt intimidating to you. It felt unclear because you were unclear. It felt unstable because you were divided. When your heart was wrestling, everything ahead seemed foggy. But now that alignment has occurred within you, your perspective is shifting. Clarity inside creates vision outside. You are not standing at the edge of chaos. You are standing at the beginning of continuity. What lies ahead is not random. It is not a test waiting to expose you. It is a path unfolding in response to the yes you have already spoken. My beloved child, you do not need to see 10 steps ahead. You only need enough light for the next one. And you already have it. The decision you made was not small, even if it appeared simple. When direction changes internally, destiny adjusts externally. Seeds have been planted through your obedience. You may not see immediate results. You may not feel dramatic shifts. But beneath what is visible, roots are forming. Alignment always bears fruit. Not instantly, but faithfully. In this next season, you will begin to notice subtle confirmations. Conversations will feel lighter. Decisions will feel less exhausting. Your thoughts will not circle as they once did. These are not coincidences. They are evidence that peace is replacing tension. Do not rush to manufacture visible results. Growth does not require performance. You are not called to force outcomes. You are called to remain responsive. Lift your expectations gently. You are allowed to anticipate good. You are allowed to believe that obedience leads somewhere meaningful. You are allowed to trust that what I have guided you into is part of something larger than you can yet see. The future is not a trap waiting for you to fail. It is a continuation waiting for you to walk into it. And you will not walk into it as the hesitant person you once were. You will walk into it as someone who has tasted both delay and alignment and knows the difference. There will be new challenges someday. Growth does not eliminate stretching. But you will meet those moments differently. You will remember this season. You will remember the exhaustion of indecision. You will remember the peace that followed obedience. That memory will guide you quickly next time. You are not stepping into endless cycles of strain. You are stepping into increasing stability. My beloved child, do not shrink your vision because of past hesitation. Do not limit your expectation because you once delayed. Your growth has expanded your capacity. Your obedience has strengthened your footing. See yourself as forming, not fragile. See your future as unfolding, not threatening. See your life as guided, not random. I am not sending you forward and remaining behind. I walk with you. I prepare what you cannot yet perceive. I arrange circumstances, connections, and confirmations that will meet you at the right time. Trust the pace. Trust the unfolding. Trust that what you cannot yet see is still being shaped. Your story did not stall in the season of hesitation. It was refined, and refinement prepares you for responsibility, not retreat. Lift your eyes, my beloved child. Walk calmly. Expect goodness without demanding immediate proof. The road ahead is not empty. It is prepared, and you are ready to walk it with steady confidence. My beloved child, listen carefully, because this moment requires tenderness and strength at the same time. After breakthrough, after obedience, after clarity has settled into peace, there is often one final attempt from doubt to reclaim its old position. It does not return because you failed. It returns because you move. When you change direction, when you step out of a pattern that once defined you, when you close a door that was once familiar, the old voice does not disappear silently. It lingers at the edge of your thoughts. It tests the boundary. It whispers gently, almost politely. You may wake up one morning and feel an unexpected flicker of uncertainty. You may suddenly wonder, did I really need to do that? Or was I too firm? Or what if I misunderstood something small? My beloved child, if that happens, do not panic. Do not assume everything has unraveled. Do not interpret a passing thought as a permanent reversal. Doubt's final attempt is not proof that you are weak. It is often proof that it is losing power. When something is being replaced, it resists. When a pattern is broken, it protests. When an old identity is dissolving, it tries to reintroduce itself one last time. But protest is not authority. Noise is not control. You must remember how you arrived here. You did not act impulsively. You did not leap emotionally. You walked through reflection. You allowed refinement. You examined your motives. You guarded your speech. You confirmed your clarity. Your obedience was thoughtful and anchored, not reckless. That foundation does not collapse because of one unsettled thought. My beloved child, when doubt whispers, respond gently, not dramatically. You do not need to fight it with intensity. You do not need to overanalyze it. Simply return to truth. Say within your heart, calmly and steadily, I acted in clarity. I trust my Father. Then continue living. Doubt survives on rehearsal. It requires repetition. It feeds on attention. If you sit with it, analyze it, replay it, and nurture it, it will grow. But if you acknowledge it and refuse to entertain it, it fades quickly. It cannot dominate a heart that does not agree with it. You are not required to silence every uncertain thought forever. You are human. Thoughts will pass through your mind. Feelings will rise and fall. But you are no longer governed by every thought that appears. You are anchored now. You are aware now. You can distinguish between truth and noise. If doubt knocks once more, see it as an echo of a season that has ended. It does not represent your future. It represents your past attempting to hold influence. But influence weakens when it is not welcomed. Smile softly at the whisper. Then keep walking. Do not reopen decisions that were settled in peace. Do not seek fresh confirmation for clarity that was already given. Do not rebuild what has already been established. Your yes was not fragile. It was formed through growth. Trust the peace that followed obedience. Trust the steadiness that replaced tension. Trust the maturity that developed within you. My beloved child, doubt may knock one last time, but it no longer owns the door. You decide what remains in your heart. And you have chosen alignment. You have chosen growth. You have chosen trust. Keep moving forward. The echo will fade. The clarity will remain. And each step you take without entertaining that final whisper will strengthen your confidence even more. You are not returning to who you were. You are continuing forward as who you have become. And that identity is steady. My beloved child, what is forming within you now is not loud, not dramatic, not designed for display. Yet it is powerful. You are learning to walk in quiet authority. This authority does not demand attention. It does not strive for recognition. It does not push others aside. It is the calm steadiness that emerges when obedience and identity fully align. You are not who you were at the beginning of this journey. Before, your steps carried hesitation. Even when you moved forward, you looked over your shoulder. Even when you decided, you revisited the decision internally. You measured yourself constantly. You questioned your instincts. You sought reassurance repeatedly. There was subtle tension in your posture, subtle uncertainty in your tone. But something has changed. You are no longer negotiating with conviction. You are no longer debating clarity. You are standing in it. That is quiet authority. It is not forceful. It is grounded. It does not shout. It settles. It does not argue. It knows. My beloved child, authority begins within. It is not about controlling circumstances or directing others. It is about leading your own heart. It is about choosing alignment when emotions fluctuate. It is about remaining steady when voices around you shift. It is about holding your ground without hostility. You are becoming someone who does not panic when challenged. Someone who does not crumble when questioned. Someone who does not over-explain when misunderstood. That is maturity. When someone asks why you made a certain choice, you respond calmly. You do not feel the need to justify yourself extensively. When a new opportunity appears, you evaluate it without fear of missing out. When an unexpected obstacle arises, you adjust without returning to old patterns of doubt. This is what inner authority looks like in daily life. It is visible in your pace. It is heard in your tone. It is felt in your presence. You are not striving to appear strong. You are simply anchored. There is a sacred difference between the two. Striving exhausts you. Anchoring stabilizes you. Striving seeks approval. Anchoring rests in conviction. My beloved child, you earned this steadiness through refinement, through wrestling honestly, through resisting regression, through guarding your speech, through learning to rest. Each step shaped your foundation. Authority was not handed to you casually. It was formed through growth. Now walk in it. Do not shrink back from it out of false humility. Do not exaggerate it into pride. Simply live from it. Quiet authority does not need announcement. It speaks through consistency. When your words match your actions and your actions match your convictions, integrity becomes your strength. People may begin to notice the difference. They may describe you as calmer, more grounded, more certain. Accept that without arrogance. It is not superiority. It is stability. And stability influences more than you realize. When others observe your calmness under pressure, they begin to believe steadiness is possible. When they see you act without drama, they understand that growth can be quiet. When they hear your measured words, they sense peace instead of tension. Impact does not require noise. It requires consistency. My beloved child, continue your rhythm. Continue your daily pause. Continue guarding your speech. Continue resting in trust. Authority is sustained the same way it was formed, through awareness and obedience. You are no longer walking as someone unsure of where they stand. You know where you stand. Stand gently. Stand firmly. Stand without hostility. Stand without apology. Let your life reflect the strength that obedience has built within you. You are anchored now, responsive, steady, and this quiet authority will carry you faithfully into every season ahead. My beloved child, before this chapter closes, before you fully step into the rhythm of your new season, I want to speak one more truth into your heart. Not as a command, not as a correction, but as a covering. You are loved completely, consistently, without fluctuation. You were loved when you hesitated. You were loved when you delayed. You were loved when you wrestled in silence. You were loved when you finally said yes. And you are loved now as you stand steady. Do not ever rewrite this journey in your mind as though my love increased when your obedience did. My affection for you did not grow when you chose alignment. It was already full. It was already present. It was already constant. The final call was not a threat of distance. It was an invitation to freedom. You were never in danger of losing me. You were in danger of remaining divided. Division was draining you. It was clouding your joy. It was stretching your mind thin. And because I love you, I called you out of that division. Not to demand perfection, not to measure your worth, but to restore your wholeness. My beloved child, obedience did not earn closeness. It removed interference. It cleared the fog. It restored your peace. But my presence was near you even when you struggled. I did not withdraw while you hesitated. I did not turn away while you questioned. I remained patient, steady, waiting for your heart to align. Carry this understanding with you. Your relationship with me is not fragile. It is faithful. You do not walk on delicate ground where one mistake shatters everything. You walk on grace. If you stumble in a future moment, return quickly. If you feel uncertain again someday, listen again. If you grow weary, rest again. This is not a one-time invitation. It is an ongoing relationship. Responsiveness is all I ask. Not perfection. Not performance. Not pressure. Responsiveness. You listened when conviction came. You wrestled honestly instead of pretending. You chose alignment even when it cost comfort. That is maturity. That is growth. And growth will continue to unfold, not because you force it, but because you remain open. My beloved child, remember how this season moved. It began with quiet awareness. It intensified with tension. It reached a point of decision. And it resolved in peace. The pattern will reassure you in the future. Conviction may rise again in other areas of your life. You may wrestle briefly, but resolution will follow if you remain willing. You are not destined for endless struggle. You are walking toward increasing stability. And stability changes everything. Before you go forward fully, pause for gratitude. Not loud gratitude. Not performative gratitude. Simple acknowledgement. You have grown. You have responded. You have chosen clarity over comfort. You have stepped into alignment. That matters deeply. Carry this memory with you. When doubt whispers in another season, you will remember how it faded here. When fear attempts to slow you, you will remember the peace that followed obedience. When opportunity calls you into unfamiliar territory, you will remember that you are capable of courageous response. You are not who you once were. You are steadier. You are clear. You are calmer. Not because life became easy, but because you became aligned. You not look back to see if the old door reopened. It remains closed for a reason. The path ahead remains open for a reason. And I walk it with you, not behind you, not ahead of you, but with you. You are not alone in responsibility. You are not alone in quiet seasons. You are not alone in what is coming. You are my beloved child. That truth does not shift with circumstances. That love does not fade with time. That presence does not withdraw when challenges arise. Go forward now, anchored in love, strengthened by obedience, confident in the peace alignment has restored. And remember, no matter what unfolds next, I remain with you, steady, faithful, and near. My beloved child, this is my final word to you in this message, but it is not the end of my voice in your life. It is the end of this call, not the end of our walk together. You have heard me. You have wrestled honestly. You have faced your hesitation. You have resisted regression. You have guarded your speech. You have learned to rest. You have stepped into quiet authority. And now you stand aligned. I am proud of you, not in a way that measures you against others, not in a way that pressures you to maintain an image, but in the way a father delights in his child's growth. You chose courage when comfort would have been easier. You chose clarity when confusion felt familiar. You chose movement when delay felt safe. That matters. My beloved child, as you move forward from this moment, receive my blessing over your path. May your mind remain clear when noise rises. May your heart remain soft even as your convictions stay firm. May your steps remain steady when circumstances shift. May your voice remain calm when others grow loud. May your spirit remain anchored when emotions fluctuate. You are not stepping into a fragile future. You are stepping into a guided one. There will be new lessons, yes. There will be new stretches. But you will not meet them as the same person who once hesitated here. You will meet them with memory, with maturity, with peace. Remember who you are now. You are not the divided one. You are not the endlessly circling one. You are not the fearful one. You are the responsive one. You are the aligned one. You are the steady one. And above all, you are my beloved child. When new crossroads appear, you will recognize my voice faster. When doubt whispers again in another season, you will answer it quicker. When opportunity calls you forward, you will step with less delay. Growth compounds. Obedience strengthens reflexes. Peace becomes familiar. You not forget this season. Mark it in your memory as the moment you answered the final call instead of ignoring it. Mark it as the moment you stopped postponing what you already knew. Mark it as the moment your yes became whole. Carry that memory like a quiet monument inside your heart. And if ever you feel distant, return to the rhythm you learned here. Pause. Reflect. Guard your words. Rest. Listen. Respond. The door to alignment is never locked to you. My beloved child, I send you forward not with fear, not with pressure, but with blessing. Walk confidently. Walk gently. Walk faithfully. I go with you. My presence does not fade when this message ends. My guidance does not stop when the words grow quiet. My love does not diminish when challenges arise. You are held. You are guided. You are strengthened. Now go, anchored in peace, covered in love, steady in obedience. And remember, this was not just a message. It was a turning point. And you answered. My beloved child, you answered the call. Now help carry it to those who are still ignoring theirs. This turning point in your life can become a trumpet blast in someone else's valley. When you give through super thanks, step into membership, or so through PayPal. The link is waiting in the description. You become a messenger of this final call. I said, freely you have received, freely give, and I am speaking it over you now with power. Your generosity becomes a river that does not run dry. It becomes bread multiplied in my hands, feeding thousands you may never meet. If you feel gratitude rising within you, let it move into action. This is sacred timing, an appointed moment to seal your yes with provision. I will establish the work of your hands and surround your household with favor. Do not let this be only a message you heard. Let it be a mission you fund. Act now, sow boldly, and send my word further.